What's up, everybody? This is a very special Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora coming to you from the Travel Cafe Kubal Studios. And we are here with 2022 wide receiver commit to Syracuse University, and that is Dom Foster. Dom Foster here with us from Warren, Ohio, and coming in for the first time ever on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in this special video for each and every single one of you across the country and the world, and of course, those Syracuse fans in every nook and cranny around the world. Dom, how you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing well, man. So first and foremost, I want to go back to the beginning for you. When did you start to play football, and when did you fall in love with it?
I was actually 5. It's crazy because in Ohio, you can't play till you're 6. So I was playing before I was supposed to be playing. And I remember the first time touching the ball, I was at running back. And you probably thinking, what is he doing at running back? But I just wanted the ball on my hands, so I knew what I could do with it. I really didn't start taking it serious till about the beginning of my sophomore year when I knew I had a chance to play varsity.
And you said, so you fell in love with it back then, or you got really into it at like 5 years old. You started to play, but as a sophomore, that's when you really started to take it seriously, because you said that's when you knew you could play varsity. What made you think that you could get there as a sophomore? What did you feel like when you say you started taking it seriously? Bring me into what that looked like.
So the first game I actually didn't play until the end of the game, and I had success. So from there, I'm like, I really want to do this thing. So every day we went to the sand, we worked out, trained hard every day with me and my quarterback.
And who was your quarterback?
His name is Elijah Taylor. He's currently at Wayne State playing quarterback right now.
So how did Elijah Taylor make you a better wide receiver?
He rode me because he knew I was one of the better guys. He didn't let me slack. It was like a mom at practice.
So when you say that he rode you, he didn't let you slack, it was like having like a mom at practice and whatnot. What did he do to make sure that you were focused? How did he stay on you? What was it? Was it verbal? Was it, just calling you up and saying, hey, we're going to train like right now? Was it action oriented? How was it?
It was action oriented. It was verbal. It was from me waking up, looking at film, from a text message, from me not doing the right thing to me doing the right things. So it wasn't like he was always getting on me for bad things. He's seen the good work too.
How did he make you better? What pieces of your game did Elijah Taylor help you with?
He helped me with, how can I put this? Because we're running routes, it always isn't about the route. It's about the spacing too, and where the ball is going to be placed. So he just helped me with my spacing, how to look for the ball and what situation. If it's a defender in front of me, he's going to throw a back shoulder pass to me. It's just a lot.
So speaking here with Dom Foster, 2022 wide receiver committed to Syracuse from Warren, Ohio. Getting started as young as you did, and you played running back at that time, what do you remember of having the ball in your hands when you were just 5 years old?
So I actually didn't know how to take a handoff. So literally everything was a pitch, right or left. And I just caught the ball and ran behind my blockers. But the best thing was just seeing my parents happy. So that's why I wanted to keep doing it, seeing the crowd happy.
So for you, you love seeing the crowd happy. You love seeing your parents happy. What does that do for you in your game? How does that make you a better player? How does it command more out of you? Do you still feed off the crowd, so to speak?
Yes, I do, till this day. So if the crowd's into it, I'm feeling good. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have a good game.
Now, I know at 35 years old that I've learned a lot. And what I've learned is what's kept me young, will always keep me young, is knowing that happiness comes from within. So you love the crowd and you love that they get into it. But does your happiness come from them or does it come from you? Do you have that inside of you that if the crowd isn't behind you, that you can pull something good out of yourself?
Yeah, I'm still going to go play.
Being committed to Syracuse, what stadium are you most looking forward to playing at on the road?
Clemson.
Okay. Death Valley. Why?
You watch it on TV. It really doesn't, because you really can't hear the stadium because of the broadcasters and all that. But it was just the stadium, the broadcasters wasn't talking. Oh, it gets crazy in there. It's like all the sound is trapped in one place. That's by far, I think, one of the hardest colleges to play at.
Knowing that Syracuse has defeated Clemson, they did it in the Dome, though, and it was coming off of Clemson's championship season. They were ranked 2 in the country at the time. What do you think about the notion that you could be a part of a team at Syracuse that could finally beat them in Death Valley? How real does that feel to you?
It's kind of unreal because I would have never thought I would be playing against Clemson, It was like, at first when they told me, "Are you ready for this?" And I'm like, I never thought of this. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to get ready.
Yeah. That coming from Dom Foster here with us this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Travel Studios as we're going around the country here and inside the Cafe Kubal Studios. Dom, for you to commit to Syracuse, you obviously had a recruiting trail along the way. For people that don't know, tell everybody who your first school was that offered you and what did the recruiting trail look like to you?
The first school who offered me was the University of Toledo, at the end of my sophomore year. And then obviously got hit with COVID, so that slowed everything down. So I really didn't start picking up my recruitment until this summer that just passed. And so this summer I grinded. I went to camps. I was the whole month of June, I wasn't in Ohio at all. So yeah, that's really what happened. I got caught with COVID. So.
And how did you navigate through that and how are you now?
It was, I mean, it wasn't a hard process, but it was just me doing it.
Yeah. Knowing that this world the last 18 months has gone through something that nobody expected, nobody could have anticipated, nobody was ready for. What have you learned about yourself the last 18 months on and off the field? I mean, you're a kid going through a pandemic, which thankfully is not something this world goes through a lot. How do you look back on the last 18 months?
I matured a lot. From interviews to podcasts, from me just talking to college coaches, it's just I really see a change.
How did that change come about? What made you, when you say, you're better with interviews, better with talking with coaches, what made you that way? What did you do the last 18 months to excel at that, so to speak?
I honestly think it was like repetition, because the more and more you do something, you get better at it, right?
Yeah. So for you, going through recruitment during a pandemic, obviously film has to be sent out more. You can't necessarily go and visit places and whatnot. So how did that work for you? Did you utilize the social media world? Did you virtually try to get after it in recruitment and make sure that coaches knew about you?
I had almost every day, if I wasn't at a camp, I was on a virtual visit. So, or I was either sending film out. or I was on the Zoom.
What did you of the all the virtual things you could do? What can you say about Zoom? I mean, I think that Zoom probably, if they have stock, is through the roof right now. I don't know if anybody knew who Zoom was 18 months ago, but do you what do you like about Zoom? Do you like Zoom? I mean, do you like these FaceTime, Zoom, virtual? I mean, obviously a face-to-face meeting is better, but what can you say about how have you become Dom Foster in the virtual world? What can you say about that?
It actually started when COVID first hit. Me, my high school, my head coach, this is how I found out about Zoom, was from them. So when we were all on lockdown, almost every day we would go on Zoom and we would go over the plays, the formations, the personnels, and he would put a slideshow on Zoom, and we all had to be on there first thing in the morning.
So
Then
now that you, what did you say?
From there, I just started seeing everything on Zoom.
So for you, are you zoomed out or are you like a Zoom champion at this point?
I mean, I don't know. I think I was a champion. I know the ins and outs of
it. Fair enough. So to go back to your recruitment, that first offer, Toledo, coming from your home state of Ohio, what did it mean to you that Toledo reached out to you and gave you that offer? Because obviously, once you get the first one, it opens the door, and undoubtedly other schools will look at you. So what did the Toledo offer mean to you, and what do you want to say to Toledo?
It means a lot. That was the first university that took the chance on me and seen something in me, which I appreciated a lot. I want to tell them thank you, and I hope the best for them, just like how they hope the best for me.
What's the, when you go back to your recruitment, like you said, you just grinded, and the whole month of June, you weren't even in Ohio. You were going to camps, you were on Zooms and whatnot. What other schools reached out to you and wanted you to come there on your trail?
So the second time I went back to Syracuse the second time. So the moment I get in Syracuse, mind you, you have to pass Buffalo to get in Syracuse. So I'm passing Buffalo and I'm entering Syracuse, and the Buffalo coach calls me and offers me. So then I'm in Boston College, and then Wake Forest offers me. So it was just a lot.
I feel like coaches were getting tipped off to where your travels were. So that's
right.
So how surreal is that for you that on the way to Syracuse, Buffalo offers you, when you're in BC, Wake Forest in the same conference and the same division offers you? How strange was that for you? Like, what was that like to experience?
It was kind of cool, and it wasn't, because it was like, well, are they watching me? Like, do they know where I'm at? But they probably do. So,
and when you go through the teams that had offered you, the schools and the institutions, when you look back at that list of opportunities, how would you describe the schools that offered you? How would you describe kind of your pool of teams that you had opportunity to choose from?
It's a lot of competition, man, with those schools. They're all very good programs. Very good head coaches. I had to make the hardest decision of my life. If anybody asked me what's the hardest decision, out of the 18 teams that offer me, that would be the hardest decision. It's nonstop thinking. You wake up, you think, you go to sleep, you have your dreams about it. It was crazy.
When you have 18 offers, how do you narrow it down?
What felt like home, with the university's best interest in you, with majors, because there's some colleges who doesn't have your major.
Yeah.
So then you have to go around. It's a lot. what your family feels about you going there, because they obviously don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. It's a lot.
Was there a team or two that made it to the end with Syracuse that were really, really hard to say no to?
Yes, it was.
And who were they?
Wake Forest and Boston College and Virginia.
So all ACC, you know. I want to start with Virginia. What was it about Virginia that made it hard to say no to?
Just how genuine the coaches were, the location, and how good the program was.
And then Boston College and Wake Forest, very interesting here, because not only are they in the ACC, but they're in the same division as Syracuse. Boston College has played Syracuse forever. So what was that like to choose amongst those three, knowing that if you played for either one of them, you would be in the ACC and be in the Atlantic and then have to play the other two teams every year?
That's what I said. It was a hard decision, because I mean, it was like, go with what you feel. Go with what you feel is best for you.
So what was the difference maker with Syracuse? Why was Syracuse, when you say you're looking at, does it feel like home? Is my major there? You know, the location and whatnot. Why did Syracuse beat out all the other teams?
So the first time I went to Syracuse, I didn't go with my parents. I went with my coaches, my position coaches. And it was a Friday. We got in Friday night. The visit started Saturday morning. And it just it felt like I really didn't need my parents across the hallway from me or on the other side of the house. And then I text him, like, I think this is where I want to be, Mom. And then she's like, tell me why. So I told her why. She was like, that's a valid reason. She was like, now I want to go down there. Yeah. And the second we went down there, she felt the same thing. She didn't even want to come home.
When you called your mom and said, this is why I want to go, what did you say?
I told her, this is where I want to be. It feels like home. It feels like I don't need you just downstairs anymore. Like, I feel like I could just pick up the phone and just call you and talk to you now.
What made Syracuse feel that comfortable and that much like home? What was it about Syracuse that was different?
From the universities, from the environment, from the facilities that's there, from the people that's around the city. It's just great, man.
You came the first time. When was the first time you came?
I would say August.
So you came in August, and the second time was when? The second time, when did you come?
Yeah, July.
Okay. So you came in July and August. So the first time was in July, second time in August?
Yeah.
Okay. How far apart were those moments? How many weeks apart were they?
It was a month apart.
Okay. So you came I came
the end of August and the end of July. But in the midst of those, I went to BC and Wake Forest.
So what happened when you were at BC and at Wake Forest? What did it feel like on their campus that didn't feel, because obviously Syracuse felt more. So what did you feel at BC? What did you feel at Wake?
Wake Forest, it was just like, it was just, how can I put it? It was like the campus was too small. Like, everything was right there. And then it's like BC, it's just where it's located at, there really isn't nothing there but a university and a highway.
So for Syracuse, it feels like home. What about the location did you like? When you talk about Wake was too small, BC was just a highway and the school, how would you describe where Syracuse University is?
Your downtown is unbelievable, especially at night. We always got in at night, and you just drive and getting off the exit, and everything is lit up. Like, wow, big buildings. Actually, the hotel we were in, we were right above the Carrier Dome, so it was nice.
How would you describe the Carrier Dome inside and outside? How would you describe what it looks like? Because it's definitely a very unique place.
It doesn't look like a stadium on the outside. It really doesn't. But when you walk in there, you look up, you see all the jumbo screens. If it was me and 4 other coaches in there, if you scream, the noise literally travels. And I asked Coach, his name is Coach Gio. I asked him, I said, does the sound get trapped there? Oh, yeah, it gets loud. And I heard it first time.
What were your first thoughts and feelings when you walked into the dome? Like when you actually stood and looked up and looked around, what were the first thoughts and feelings you had?
I can't wait to play in here. I can't wait to call this home.
Can you pinpoint any other time in your life where you had the same feeling that you had as when you stepped in the dome?
Me watching the varsity as a middle schooler, elementary kid, even a freshman. I couldn't wait to play in our stadium.
So that feeling of you couldn't wait to play out in Warren, Ohio is the same feeling you got when you walked into the dome.
Same feeling.
That's awesome, man. Well, you got the hat. The hat's there. You got the hats on and it's ready to go. Syracuse fans want to know what the future looks like. How would you describe the future of Syracuse football in your opinion?
Electric team, a shutout team, and just positivity, great vibes there.
Have you spoken to anybody else on the recruiting trail that's looking to be the future of Syracuse?
One other guy.
And who was that?
His name is Malachi.
And what's the conversations been like with Malachi?
About how we think it's going to be when we get there and how eager and hungry we are to get there.
Now, Nick Monroe, if I'm correct, he was in your recruitment?
Yes, he was my recruiter, yes.
What can you say about Nick Monroe? How would you describe him, and what did he do that made you feel like Syracuse is the right place? Like, how was he a part of this decision for you?
I first met him at a Youngstown State camp. That's where he first seen me. And from June 14th until the day I committed, which was August 18th, we talked every day. It wasn't a day we didn't talk, literally. From FaceTimes to regular calls to text messages to Zooms. Well, I can be at another visit and he's still texting me. So we just built a great relationship.
Did any other coach interact with you that much?
From any other team?
Yeah.
No, not by far.
What do you like about Nick's personality? How would you describe it?
He's just a good guy, man. He's silly. He's honest with you. He doesn't fake anything to you. I remember him telling me, he always tells me there's no pressure.
What did he say to you about getting on the field? Because Syracuse's wide receivers, obviously, this season, Taj Harris decided to leave in the middle of the season. Damian Elford has stepped up. Anthony Quealy has had some positive moments. So it's kind of an open room now where even in this season, a few games in, 5 games in, Syracuse is spreading the ball out and there is no one dominant guy. What do you think about coming into a team that is a little bit of everybody. There's no dominant receiver at this moment. What do you think of that? And what did the coaching staff tell you about the opportunity?
So actually, I'm going in as a DB.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So they basically was telling me that they play young guys. And as you can see, Deuce Chestnut is playing, and he's a true freshman. My Garrett Williams is playing, and he plays as a freshman. So I guess they weren't playing about the best guys are on the field.
Yeah. So sorry, go ahead.
It shows that they're on the field too.
So when you were recruited by all of these schools, the 18 schools, did they recruit you DB, wide receiver, both? How was the breakdown?
Some schools recruited me as just an athlete because they didn't know. Some schools recruited me as a receiver, and some schools recruited me as a DB. Toledo actually offered me as a receiver when they seen me play defense. They changed the whole scheme.
Okay. And so Syracuse recruiting you as a DB, do you like that? Because obviously, as a wide receiver, you've done some good things. So do you like, if you had to choose, would you prefer wide receiver, prefer DB? What do you think about being on the defensive side of it?
It really doesn't matter, man. I'm an athlete. Receiver is DB, basically. DB is receiver if you look at it from the other side of the ball. You're breaking on the ball, you're high-pointing the ball, you catch the ball, you run to the house.
Syracuse's secondary historically has struggled in past history, but in the last few years, arguably one of the best pieces of their defense, and in a 3-3-5, they focal point that part of the defense. Ifeatu Melifonwu, Trill Williams, Andre Sisco, guys now, Garrett Williams, Deuce Chestnut as a true freshman, Garrett, like you said, playing as a freshman. Jihad Carter's done some good things. Rob Hanna's done some good things. I look back to Shamarko Thomas went under Doug Marrone. There's some athletes that have slowly but surely transitioned this secondary in a positive state and progressed it up. And in the last couple seasons, including this season, this secondary has been very strong. What does it mean to you to be coming into a secondary that's finally kind of come into themselves? As long as it took for Syracuse to have a strong secondary, you're coming in now where they lose 3 guys and the next guys up are still holding their own.
It means a lot. The 5 DBs they have back there, they have a lot of shutouts. So that just means for me, I have to come in and keep the same energy as them guys because they led away. Now it's time to keep it going.
Would you ever be open to playing receiver?
I'm open to do whatever the best for the team.
When you get recruited by Syracuse to play DB, did that change anything for you? When you went into your recruitment, were you hoping to be a receiver, hoping to be a DB? Did it not matter? Like when you walked into recruiting and schools started talking to you, did you have a hope?
It didn't matter. Football is football at the end of the day.
So tell me what makes you dangerous as a defensive back. I want to know your best attributes. And then secondly, I want to know what you think you need to work on the most.
Breaking on the ball. My ball tracking skills, I feel like, is the best thing in my attributes too. Something I need to work on is being more patient. I think I get it too little over aggressive and physical. I got to be a little patient sometimes. And once I get that down, I think I'll be a good player.
Syracuse in this 3-3-5 has corners, safeties, and a rover. What do you think about those positions? And is there one that you think that you could fit in better at?
I honestly think I could fit in at all 3 of those.
What constitutes, in your opinion, a good corner, a good safety, a good rover? Is there similarities amongst them, or is there something in your wheelhouse that you think you have to have that's separate? Like if I'm a corner, I got to do this. If I'm a safety, I got to do that. How would you describe it? If you think you can play any of them, how would you describe kind of what's in your toolbox?
I feel like they all feed off of patience and reaction. You can't have a slow reaction and be playing them 5 positions at all. You got to know what you're doing. You just got to be a ball player.
Dino Babers, have you spoken to him? If you have, what has the conversation been like?
So the first time I spoke to him was my first time going on a visit. He took me in his office. He told me he can't wait for me to get down there. He told me his philosophy on the him playing guys. The best players are on the field. He's not going to hold anyone back. He's going to put people in the best position. Then he looked at me and told me, if you do what you got to do, you're going to be an NFL first-round draft pick. And he had goosebumps when he said it, and he showed me. He obviously sees something in me because you can't fake goosebumps at all. Like, how can you do that?
Yeah.
And I just felt a good connection with him. And he reminded me of my high school head coach, too. They're just alike.
And let's shout out your high school head coach. And why are they similar? What's similar?
When he told me the best guys are going to play, that made me think of my head coach, Coach Arnold. I was a sophomore, and I was just dominating everybody that was in front of me. And he gave me my chance to play, and this is where I am now. I'm blessed, and I appreciate him a lot.
I have done this. I broadcasted for almost 18 years. There's never, ever been a moment that I've interviewed anyone on the recruiting trail or at all that's told me that a coach got goosebumps in a meeting and showed his goosebumps to somebody he was talking to. That is a truly incredible thing. And I hope that you give Dino goosebumps again, because if you do, that means you're doing something good on the field.
Right.
You committing to Syracuse, is there any chance that anybody else can come in, talk to you, change your mind between now and signing day? How committed are you?
I'm 100% committed. No one's stopping this.
Your mom didn't want to come home when you went to Syracuse the second time. What did your mom love the most about it?
The city, the environment, how the people were. And first time we touched foot on facilities, she just loved everyone, and they loved her too.
I want to shout out. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Coach Monroe talks to my mom almost every day, still today.
What do they talk about?
So he watches the game, but now that their season started, so he texts my mom and asks, "What's the update? How am I doing?" And she responds.
So I want to shout out mom and dad. Let's say their names on air here. What can you say about mom and dad? Let's shout them out, and what you love the most about your mom and love the most about your stepdad.
I love the most about my mom is how she spoke things into existence. She knew from her putting me out there early that she's seeing something in me. She keeps me going every day, and her name is Shannon Foster, the best woman in my eyes on the planet. My stepdad, his name is Basil Omar. He's seen the same thing in me. He really wasn't kind of sure about me playing because of injuries and stuff, but he got over it, and he supports me through the whole way. And I love both of them, and I can ask for a better set of parents.
I love that. So with that being said, it's all about family here on Wake Up Call. It's time to get into rapid fire. You get 2 and I get 2, Dom. I can ask you any 2 questions. Doesn't have to do with football. Could have to do with anything. And you can ask me too. In the spirit of fairness, I will let you go first in rapid fire. This is Dom Foster, 2022 incoming freshman for Syracuse, wide receiver and a DB, coming in as a DB for the Syracuse Orange and their future out of Warren, Ohio. Dom, what's your first question?
Have you ever played any sports?
I have. So I played Little League Baseball, and I got hit right above my kidney and stopped playing because I didn't really love baseball to play it. And then I played basketball I started to be around basketball at 3. I played organized at 7. I got recruited D3 to my alma mater, Marywood University. And I came off a bad coach in high school. I didn't want to play right away. I was kind of bitter, I guess. I don't want to say bitter, but I was kind of like I needed some time. And I ended up broadcasting and met the coach that called me on the recruiting trail that way. And I ended up staying with broadcasting, not because I didn't want to play, but because that's what I wanted to do for my career. So I will still pick up a basketball. And if you and I started right now, I'd play all day long. I play from like 11 to 7 and not even flinch. So I love basketball. I played pickup football, but I never played football with pads on because in high school, my buddy Brandon said I'd be a really good running back because I was like elusive. I made different moves, but the thought of a 300-pound person falling on me just didn't feel good. So that changed it for me. My first one for you, Dom, is well, first and foremost, I got to ask you this if you know the reference. Have you ever watched Chappelle's Show?
The Chappelle Show?
Yeah.
I've seen little clips of it. I haven't watched it.
Okay. Well, in that, he makes a joke about this guy, Dylon, who was in Making the Band with Diddy. And he asks, who are the 5 greatest rappers of all time? And Dylon says himself 5 times. But going off of that, I want to ask you, who are the 5 greatest rappers of all time?
I would have to say Tupac, Biggie. I really don't think there is anyone top of them too, really. It's hard.
So Tupac and Biggie, who are the best right now? So if you got Tupac and Biggie, let's choose 3 right now.
Little Dirk, Baby, and I would say Drake.
Okay. So Drake beats out Kanye, Lil Wayne, and Kendrick Lamar. Why?
I haven't heard them. Like, that's not even what I listen to. So I mean,
okay. But why? So you like Drake? I like Drake. I've liked Drake from the beginning, pretty much. So why do you like Drake? What do you like about him?
How he's versatile, man. You don't get too many guys that could just rap and then sing R&B to you. I don't know too many guys like that. Do you?
I mean, it's not an easy thing to do by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I get involved in the music world and in the hip hop and R&B and kind of soul type of music, so it's something that means a lot to me, and maybe that's why I have respect for him.
Right.
What's your second one for me?
Do you have any kids?
I do not. I have my dog. I have Lily, and I would like to have kids someday. I've always wanted to be a dad, but was not in the situation where, I felt like I was with the right person to do that. So hopefully someday I'll have the opportunity. But I told Lily, if I only get to be her dad, it's going to be enough for me. She's a cool dog. My last one for you, Dom. What is one thing how about, I want to go here. So you can get into a time machine and you can either go forward in life or you can go to the past. Do you go to the past or the future, and where do you go?
I wish I could go back to the past.
Okay. Why? Where would you go?
So it's crazy because I really didn't start working out till the beginning of my junior year. And I feel like that made a big impact if I could go back to the past and start working out before time, I feel like I'll be a whole nother player than what I am now.
Okay. I like that. That's a very good answer. That coming from Dom Foster, coming into Syracuse as a DB, 100% committed to the Orange, and Nick Monroe, a big part of this, and obviously feeling at home. Dom, thank you for taking the time with me here today in this special dedicated just to you. And we look forward to seeing you up here in 2022, if not seeing you up for a visit or just hanging around to see what the team's up to beforehand. But in the meantime, I hope you and the family stay safe and stay well, and congratulations on your commitment.
Thanks for having me. Thank you too.